Welcome. Today, we're diving straight into one of the most captivating mysteries lurking in the depths of our oceans. We're jumping right into our analysis of a legendary tale that has had a literal hold on the human imagination for centuries.
Picture this. You're looking deep into the ocean's abyss, way down past where the sunlight fades to pitch black. For hundreds of years, we've stared into those dark waters and asked one haunting question. Did a truly great civilization ever actually sink into the sea? I mean, think about the sheer cinematic allure of it. A golden city wielding unbelievable, world-bending power, making everyone bow before it, and then boom, in a single night, it vanishes beneath the waves forever. That right there is the undeniable pull of Atlantis. It's a city shining with gold, possessing world-bending power, just completely swallowed by darkness. But here's what we really have to ask ourselves as we go through this explainer. Is Atlantis just a fun bedtime story? Or could it actually be a deeply misunderstood, lost chapter of our past that we simply haven't cracked yet? Section 1. Plato's Ancient Tale, a 2,400-year-old mystery. To really wrap our heads around this, we have to go straight to the source. And no, the first mention of this place wasn't on some weathered pirate map. It actually popped up roughly 2,400 years ago, courtesy of the highly respected ancient Greek philosopher Plato. He dropped it right into his famous dialogues, Timaeus and Critias. And honestly, just look at the incredible staying power of this story. People debated its reality for centuries. It fueled explorers during the Age of Exploration. Even Christopher Columbus was completely hooked on these ancient legends. Fast forward to today, and it's still driving massive modern oceanic searches. It is, without a doubt, the ultimate mystery of human imagination. So what exactly did Plato say? Well, he was surprisingly specific. He placed this colossal island empire way out beyond the Pillars of Hercules, which, is what we now call the Strait of Gibraltar. He laid out a vision of highly advanced architecture, these massive, bustling ports, and a naval fleet that was practically unbeatable. But here is the absolute kicker. Plato noted that as their power skyrocketed, so did their arrogance. And because of that hubris, they were wiped off the map by the wrath of the gods, or nature, in literally a single day and night. Section 2, Santorini's terrifying volcano, the historical suspect.
Now, what if Plato wasn't just spinning some wild, fictional yarn? What if a devastating, real-world disaster was the actual blueprint for this entire legend? The historical echoes here are, frankly, mind-blowing. On one side, we've got Plato's Atlantis, an advanced navy, a wildly wealthy empire wiped out in a day. On the flip side, we have the very real, historically verified Minoan civilization over on the island of Crete. And they were thriving. They were famous all across the Mediterranean for their massive sea trade network, their gorgeous grand palaces, and stunning art. And then, they were suddenly brought to their knees by a catastrophic natural disaster. The overlap between the myth and the hard historical record is just impossible to ignore. Let's break down the reality of what went down thousands of years ago. First, the nearby island of Santorini experienced a massive, terrifying volcanic eruption. Second, this explosion was so unbelievably huge that it filled the skies with choking ash, completely blotting out the sun. Third, this triggered giant tsunamis that violently swept right across the Aegean Sea. And finally, total and complete devastation of surrounding civilizations, with the Minoans taking a massive hit. Just like that, a great, powerful sea empire was rendered totally helpless. You can easily see how a horrific reality like that could, over a few generations, morph into the legend of a cursed, sunken empire. Moving on to Section 3, Myth or Historical Reality, the Archaeological Verdict. All right, so we need to tackle the million-dollar question head-on. Have archaeologists actually found Plato's exact sunken city of gold somewhere out there in the deep? Well, if we're looking strictly at the hard, physical evidence, the answer is no. No underwater ruins perfectly matching Plato's very specific blueprint have ever been found. Plus, there are literally 0 ancient inscriptions from that era that even mention the name Atlantis outside of Plato's own writings. Modern historians and archaeologists are pretty much in full agreement on this. But hey, rather than chalking this up as a failed treasure hunt, we need to shift our lens to something way deeper. Instead of viewing it as a literal history textbook, modern experts widely believe Plato was using Atlantis as a philosophical allegory. He was basically spinning a metaphor to unpack some incredibly complex ideas about human nature, the blueprint for an ideal society, and, crucially, its eventual moral decay.
He was holding up a mirror to his own people, showing them the inevitable, tragic fall of any civilization that lets pride blind them. Which brings us to Section 4, a warning for the modern world, turning the mirror on ourselves.
Because once you really grasp what Plato was trying to do, you realize this ancient story isn't just about ancient Greeks and sunken islands. It's actually a pretty chilling reflection of us, right here, right now. Just think about the things we take so much pride in today. We build towering skyscrapers that literally pierce the clouds. We've constructed massive, thriving coastal cities right on the water's edge. We boast these unprecedented technological advancements that make us feel like we've completely mastered the planet. We feel incredibly powerful, right? Invulnerable, even. But history tells us one very clear thing. Civilizations always think they're invincible, right up until the exact second they aren't.
There's an ultimate reality check we all have to face, and it's this. Nature always has the final word. An unexpected earthquake, a suddenly active volcano, a drastic shift in the climate, any of these can instantly humble the most advanced civilization on Earth. When you look at it in that light, Atlantis isn't just some fun maritime myth, it is a quiet, incredibly deep warning to humanity. It's a reminder that no matter our technological pride or our wealth, the whole shebang can change in a flash. So, if you're asking whether a magical, literal sunken empire was found, the answer is a hard no. But if you're asking whether a catastrophic, real-world disaster birthed this incredibly powerful story, that is highly, highly likely. Because history doesn't just hide in stones and excavated ruins, it hides in our stories. It lives on in our legends, our collective memories, and our vast human imagination.
Ultimately, Atlantis was never just a city. It's a question. How powerful can we become? And how quickly can we lose it all? I want you to really think about that the next time you're looking out over a glittering modern city skyline. Thank you so much for joining me to explore this analysis, and as always, keep questioning the world around you.